Hey guys, so in this video we are going to talk about programming conferences and whether or not you should start going to these and pay for basically going there. So let's get into it. Now, the first thing we need to talk about is why you basically want, like, why would you go to a programming conference, and what are your, like, what's your, like, what do you want from going there? And there are a few perspectives that I think are relevant when you go to a programming conference, and I'll give you my personal one, that's basically why I would go to one. And I would go to a programming conference if I felt that rather it's to learn. I would go there to learn from other people. Now, the issue with going to a conference and paying a lot, because trust me, some of these are not cheap. Like, it depends on this conference, but some of them are really pricey. And see, the issue is that if you want to go there to learn, you are taking a massive risk. And you are taking that risk because the fact of the matter is that you have no guarantees what you're going to find when you get there. Even the best speakers, like, you don't really have much in terms of an understanding of, like, what they're going to talk about. Is it going to be valuable? Is it going to be relevant? You don't know. And in my experience, more often than not, it's complete garbage. I'm not saying garbage, that's a strong word, but how do I put it? Like, I can tell you this. I have never ever been to a conference or watched someone, I've been here in Gothenburg or in other places, where I have felt that I got as much from this as my subscription to Egghead.io. I've never felt that. There are some really good tech talks. Like, I'm not saying that it's not good to go to conferences, but I'm saying that if you go there to learn programming and learn new things, you are most likely going to be sorely disappointed, because most of the stuff you can find it on YouTube. Like, most of the videos and like all of this stuff, they are shared. It's shared content anyway. You're like, Google shares almost everything they do, and the same thing goes with Facebook. All these major players, they usually put up their videos on YouTube. So, if you just want to learn things, I don't think that you should pay for going to a programming conference. It will be a waste of money. I was actually saying that, trying to convince my boss at Ticketmaster about this. They were budgeting things up, and they wanted to pull away our paid accounts for Egghead.io and Pluralsight and these other learning platforms where you have like tutorials and actually concrete courses to learn different programming concepts. And they wanted to do that because they wanted to get enough money in the budget so that they could go to basically React London. Basically Facebook's React London conference. And I kept saying over and over, like, you are going to burn through, like, you need a fraction of the money that conference is going to cost to support everybody's paid account for something that is going to give much more value to their competence and development as developers than that conference. Like, I honestly think that the only reason they did it is because our boss loves React and he's very active in that community. I think they just wanted to be there. And that's the second perspective. If you just want to meet a lot of awesome people, socialize and be among people who love what they do, like, you basically, not necessarily love what they do, but, meet a lot of people and just have a good time, then yeah, you should absolutely go to one of these conferences. And because they are great fun. I mean, it's great to be, if you're socializing and, you're having a good meal and so forth. I absolutely love it. If that's your goal, absolutely go for it. The third one, which I think is the most important one, which is honestly, that's the one you should be considering the most, especially if you're a junior software programmer. So a conference it's an event that there are a few types of people you will find at a conference. You will find like the arrangers, like and they have one goal with their conference in general, and then you have the contributors like the speakers and like all of these like different companies who are sponsors and so forth, and then you have the actual guests, like the actual people who are attending the event. Now the arrangers of all of this, they are the ones who like, they want to have a healthy mix. They want to have really good speakers, so that a lot of high profile they want to have good speakers, so that basically that they will pull a lot of traffic, like basically get a lot of people in there. Because if they get a lot of people to sign up for the event and be interested in the event, then their sponsors, which are basically all the IT companies, they will know that this is now a gathering of specialized developers. This is like a lot of the conferences I've been at have an entire section of different companies who are basically just there to promote themselves or try to recruit. And this is the important part: networking. That's the third one. If you are there to network as a company or as a junior developer looking to kind of get an exposure to some companies, this is the best place to do that sort of thing. Well, I'm not going to give it away, but I might have a video or two that's going to help you with the networking part, and it's going to make it much simpler for you than going to a conference, and it's going to be cheaper, but that's for later. Anyway, going to a conference to network is probably the biggest reason to do it. So trust me, if you want let's say that you wanted a job at Facebook or Google or whatever, that's where you want to go. That's the easiest way for you to get something like that. The thing is that you have to also be aware of that. If you go to a conference and all you do is like kind of keep to yourself and whoever you came with, or if you have the balls or vagina or whatever you want to call it, to go there yourself, and if you're not talking to anybody, then you're not there to network. Just ask yourself that question before you pay for the ticket. If you're there to learn, save your money, get an account on one of the learning platforms. If you're there to have fun, go for it, and it doesn't matter. Just go there and have a good time. If you're there to network, you need to ask yourself, am I the sort of person who can just go up to somebody, start a conversation, and have a good time? Because if you're not, and you're the sort of person who prefers to stand in the corner or stand against the wall and just not interact with anybody and just wait for the talks, then you're going to waste your money. It's going to be a complete waste of money, in my opinion. So these are a few thoughts you should bring with you when you're looking at the price, because trust me, some of these are immensely pricey. They're actually geared towards companies paying for this. But if you want to go and you have these things with you, it's absolutely feasible for a regular person to just go there. And the best part is, hey, if your company feels that, yeah, we want to send our developers on some event or something like that, it's great when somebody else is paying for it. But trust me, paying for it yourself, think about these things first.